Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of MBTV News. This is a program where we bring you sort of information about virtual worlds, immersive spaces online, and something a little bit about the haptics and stuff, the interfacing tools we use for the same. This week it is well, we're recording this and we're live now on the 12th of March already. Thrown a bit today because the US, which is where I am not, has entered what is interestingly called summertime, even though here in the UK and in America, apparently the place is covered in snow. Not exactly what you think of as
No,
summertime,
no.
but that's life. Maybe it's a new phenomenon. Summer is snow and winter is sunbathing. I thought that was Australia. Anyway, right, my name is Mal Burns, and I'm your sort of newscaster, so to speak. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Mal Burns, MALBURNS. And I post links to news items and stuff throughout the week there. And ones I'll be reading out or covering today are on that stream, but these are the selected highlights, so to speak. In the studio here, I'm joined by none other than James Atlloud, who is fiddling with knobs, in other words, video, audio, and mixing everything together to make a nice program that is a little bit more than talking heads. Welcome, James.
Oh, thank you, Mal. I wish I could show you an image of me speaking, but in-world sound is not working today. So, it's always something. But
It's
I'm glad
always
to be here, Mal.
it's always something. I know. Well,
Yep.
we do our best, and
Yep. Yep.
if that ain't good enough, well, hurl things at us.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, excuse me while I duck under the news desk.
Just another
Right.
reason to be grumpy.
Another reason to be grumpy, yes.
Yes.
Once
Yes.
upon a time, I was known as a grumpy old avatar.
I am
But
aware.
I had two companions who were also known as grumpy old avatars.
Mm-hmm.
We had a show called Grumpy
We
Old
had
Avatar.
we had Slimmy on the show recently too. Yeah.
We did. We revisited a brief bit of episode
Yep.
recently on that
Yep.
one. But we will get on with the serious news here. We'll have a bit of fun later after this.
Excellent.
So, yeah, where am I going to start this week? Well, on the big screen here, I'm going to share with you. Um, I've got my feed at Mastodon, which is, you can probably see it there, at Metaworld symbol, and then at mastodon.social. I have several other Mastodon accounts now too. Um, the posts that you're going to see here automatically get replayed or sent over to you to not YouTube indeed thingy Twitter, yes, Twitter, that one. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll get these automatically, but for convenience I'm showing you them on screen here via the Mastodon page. And uh, usual suspects this week, but I'm not overdoing it. In fact, latest yesterday was the Week in XR from Ted Schilowitz, Robbie Abowitz. What's with these wits and vitzes? I don't know, but with them all, of course, is Charlie Fink, and they've got a film and TV XR programmer featuring as a guest this week. Usually about an hour. I'll just give it a double check there. Oh, 30 minutes, so not that long. I'm not going to play any of it. You can click through from my uh, where I am, as you can see, or you can simply go straight through to YouTube or whatever. Play them in line. A couple of days ago, this is excellent. Neil Stevenson, the sci-fi author and the also Snow Crash, in fact, who coined the phrase metaverse, delivered an opening keynote at a conference I can't even remember the name of. But anyway, it was recorded on YouTube, and it's absolutely excellent. It talks about in-world economies and things like that. Considering he's involved with Lamina, he doesn't actually go into that much detail. I posted it online privately a couple of days ago, and I got a note from Philip Rosedow, in fact, saying that he'd met and talked to Neil for the first time, and what a great guy he was. And while I'm on that little bit, let me just switch through here. Um, I'll come back to this later, but this was one of Philip's tweets. Imagine what would happen if we woke up tomorrow and all the banks were gone and we had to recreate money. What design for giving it out could we all agree on? And he says, a timely theme to consider. And of course, the headline news this week is the Bank of Silicon Valley, or whatever they call themselves, crashing. And in Britain, we were told, oh, it won't affect our economy, and the next day we had our chancellor running around running around trying to do damage control as stock prices were falling on top of everything else. Um, Philip and his son August and a bunch of us have been working on this sort of UBI sort of idea of money exchange for a while now. So it's quite funny. We're prototyping something online, and what happens? We're saying the reason for it is this kind of thing, and look what happens, of course. Also, Philip, I would say, is currently in Austin, in Texas, at the SXSW thing that I can never pronounce properly, and I literally, maybe in an hour's time, he's actually delivering an hour-long talk called "Good, Evil, and Avatars," and it's all about ethics in the metaverse. It's not scheduled on the conference, the venue's live stream. It's in the program, so hopefully it will be filmed, and we'll get to hear about that talk a little bit later. So um, that was a brief interlude there. In fact, while I'm at it, I'm going to go through my quick pictures here. Our friend Evo Henning, sometimes known as Inkenzo, that was her name back in Second Life days. She got a community honour from the Pollies, the WebXR. A bit pause. In fact, I think, hang on. Nah, that's a bit of a better one there. That's a little award. And there she is, accepting it. I don't think I've got, for some reason, I haven't got a picture I'm looking for here actually. Um, which actually they were rather intriguingly broadcast because they had a sort of motion capture, not avatar but real world person standing on a stage in a virtual world, handing out the awards to real life people on camera on the right hand side of the screen. So it was talking from the virtual world. There's somebody on screen. It was consistent throughout. It wasn't a gimmick. So they actually rigged that up quite well. And of course, it was all broadcast via well, it was on YouTube, but it's also WebXR. You could the whole venue was on the web as opposed to a standalone client. Anyway, the other picture I got there is a bit too complex for us to read on screen. So moving on. Right, moving back to where I was, of course. Okay, interestingly, it was to finance and in-world game currencies and stuff like that that Neil was addressing his talk, and in very simple terms, rather than talking about blockchains and digital, currencies and stuff like that. Also, it is worth noting that as a byproduct of the Bank of Silicon trouble, not only various stocks and things collapsed a bit, but the value of most digital currencies has also gone into free fall. Presumably, all the digital currencies bank their digits with Bank of Silicon. I don't know, but of course, you can't. Nothing is. No man is an island, and no bank is an island either, by the sound of it, whatever its terminology is. Right, moving on down. By the way, we come to VR download. I saw the beginning of this, but James is the authority on this one. Did you watch it?
I did. Yeah, it was really, there were a bunch of headsets discontinued, and so they were
Yeah.
really kind of looking at the roadmap for the Quest, and then nice discussion of I still love the idea of that neural wristband for VR.
Oh yeah.
Still we need to hold a controller or device, in our hands, but having that wristband seems like such a good interface. So
Yeah.
yeah, so entertaining show again. I really enjoy
Yeah.
the opinions of these people. So enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good. Have a good rapport talking back and
Hmm.
forth with things. And
And
the
they
one
and they film in VR, so you gotta
Yes,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's in some ways that limits it, but some ways it makes it unique. So,
That's close to our heart, Mel.
slightly earlier in the week, of course, there was this one called VR Crewcast, which again was looking at headsets and stuff in world, and it was. I'm just going to glance to see if I got the right. Oh yeah, actually, the guys from Between Realities, which is off air at the
So we're
moment.
not going to talk about Mura.
they've got to the end of season, but they were guesting there. So this is quite a good show because it's not just two hosts; there's a whole darn world in the conversation. So that's okay. There was another one. I don't think I put it up here. I think it's one I saw offline. Oh no, I know what it was. It's right. I haven't included it here yet. But it was another one with two people speaking, and at the beginning, one of the presenters was obviously carried away with enthusiasm about some new product this week. I think it was a game, and his co-presenter clearly was trying to hint that he should shut up and they should get on with the show. And I was, I was sort of getting more and more in hysterics watching it because I could see what's going on here. This guy's monologue. Anyway, that's I haven't got that one here anyway. This is a great one. This is Nicole Lazaro, and she did a keynote at another conference talking about entering the metaverse. She is great actually, and I think this is about an hour.
Mal, your audio's dropped for me. Oh, now it's back again.
The original person to think about, hey, this isn't just a communications device. Glasses like the Snap spectacles I'm wearing now are coming, but until now,
Right.
till then, it's going to be.
Yeah, she's great. Talking about the technology side of it, things there actually, just quite a short thing, but very well informed and whatever. So you've got 20 minutes of that one, and then oh, that's last week's week. The final one I've got up here this week is part of a series 4, episode 2, in fact, of a thing called The History of Computer Graphics with Kirk Eaksley, and it's sorry. So the show is Building the Open Metaverse podcast. We have this quite regularly, but their interview is with Kirk Eaksley, and they're talking about the history of computer graphics, and they quite literally the graphics side of it connects to virtual worlds, and they talk about everything from early Amiga type stuff through to
Amiga.
early virtual worlds, and pretty crude VRML type stuff in the first days. So interesting talk and relevant to our brief, if that is the word. Okay, so that's done with that one, and I can go back to the top of my what's it. You might ask what what's it is. I'm not telling you. It's off screen, but I'm going to the top of my what's it anyway. And we get this.
Thinking it's going to be Linkies. It's Linky time.
Yes, indeed. Rather than link to only one Voices of VR, I'm just gone to the homepage this week because there are actually a whole load of new ones all in one week. Getting very, very niche sort of subjects on some of these days. 1184, Battle for Your Brain. 1183, Organic View of Reality, Scaffolding Processes, Regrading Philosophical Moral Dilemmas in VR, Virtual Ethics, that's 82, 81, Renaissance in Moral Psychology, and Bounds of Empathy. And of course, all these connect to virtual worlds because of his brief, though, philosophy is his thing, almost more than virtual worlds themselves. Antitrust and privacy, discussion of XRSI's privacy framework. That's March the 7th. Yeah, EU's Metaverse Initiative may bring XR privacy amendments. EU's act could impact biometric data definitions and XR privacy. And come on, it's all this week. You see, privacy landscape, data flows, highlights of existing law, extended reality, and there we are. That's it for this week. But as you can see, he's filled up quite a few. His previous last post was February 24th, so he's making up for lost time. Back to the multi-post per week gig, so to speak. Right. Okay, I'm going to leave that one up there. Right. This I stumbled upon. This girl Francesca Rosello actually wrote to me and wanted to meet. She's based in London. And well, I put it off. I was investigating what she was done. She's in a Discord group, I mean, actually, looking at the open metaverse and things. And she's actually designed clothing, which is, I'm a bit loath to pay in excess of £1,000 for something like a T-shirt, but the whole fabric and everything is basically an audio device. You put this T-shirt on, and it vibrates through your body and your bone conduction and everything else. It goes the whole hog, should I say, with wearable technology. Her company is called Cute Circuit, and she talks about a load of other things she's actually using. Um, okay, and another bonus about this particular post is that it's by our friend AI Austin, who was on our companion show a couple of weeks ago. His address is blog.inf.ed.ac.uk, and it looks like that. These are her garments that she's designed. They're all more or less one-offs, but they use very unique fabrics, and the stitching obviously has to include some kind of equivalent of wiring. So you're not just dealing with fashion now. This is out-world fashion that may well be designed in world, but is also designed to be AR, if you see what I mean. So you imagine, I don't know, your underwear becomes your bass speaker or something. Anyway, interesting, fascinating stuff. A whole different avenue approach there. So blog.inf.ed.ac.uk for Austin's roundup there. And I think I did cover her a few weeks ago, the Cute Circuit site, in its own right. So,
£1,000?
Oh God, yeah, well, it's expensive. But I
Wow.
mean, for a prestige, audio speakers and stuff, it's not. The main thing, my main worry is, I said, well, if it's going to cost that much, I hope they're bloody washable.
Okay.
Apparently they are. They're special fabrics, and
Yeah.
you won't electrocute yourself by fusing the wiring in them or whatever. It's sort of. I don't know how it must be very fine wiring. I mean, it's obviously not the stiff stuff they use in the old-fashioned bras, where they what do they call them? Underwiring bras.
Underwires. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from such things. Let's go to where we often start. Yes, I'm going to get back to our reader review. Right, the XR Week Peak, Metaworld Mac unveiled. Show me, remembered.
Okay, all right.
Glasses and more. Anyway, this is Tony Patillo, who's now arrived in Austin, Texas for the SXSW conference, so he's there too, along with everybody else. But here online, he's known as the Scar Ghost, and you'll find him at SKARREDJHOST.com, and sometimes it's accompanied by. How can you miss it? The Scar Ghost sounds more like a wolf to me the more I hear it, but anyway, he likes that. He's quite happy that he's known as the Scar Ghost. He plays up on it a lot. Right. This is a roundup of not the week that's gone by today, but the week before that. He publishes this Monday or Tuesday every week. Always a good read at the beginning of the week to catch up what's been happening the week before, so to speak. No doubt. Well, I don't know what happened this week. Often when he's away at the conference or something, he always seems to do it, but he's sometimes a day or two late. So I guess tomorrow or Tuesday you'll probably find something up from him. And just a roundup of talking about hardware like glasses and stuff like that. But the whole works. So good catch up site this for every week really. Right. Another one that's a weekly update really is XR Today. They have the big XR news from Calcom, etc., reporting on the latest extended reality news. And we do have it here again. There's often there is a video version of this, but I don't think they do it every week because I don't seem to have found one this day, or you would have seen it on the Mastodon feed. Anyway, yeah, another roundup site, which again they're talking about last Thursday, so that's not the Thursday gone by. It's the same. It's the same time frame that you find on the Skull Ghost site, actually. Yeah, so just a roundup of interesting stuff that happened in that previous week. All right, moving down here a little bit. Um, okay, this is also AR Post again, arpost.co. And they did a roundup of the Polly's WebXR Awards. I mentioned them earlier when I was showing you Evo Henning's little award there that she got. That hers was a community award. Um, this is a special event, and they also did a special farewell tribute to Altspace VR, which Microsoft basically axed yesterday. It was the last day. Um, these were the awards. That's the award hosted by Julie Smithson. Yeah, so they were real world people. But again, they had a stage which was actually in an XR called Zero Space. And yeah, not much else to show here. I do actually have a video of the whole thing, but it's immensely long, and I didn't put it in.
That's interesting. The trophy that we saw with the Evo picture
Yeah.
looked like just the base, and it makes me wonder. Looking at this image, does that base? Can you point an AR device at it and then see the top portion, the diamond shape, and all that? I
Good
wonder
point.
if the top half or the top 2/3 of that trophy are only in the virtual.
Right. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Uh, yeah, but that is a good point. That's a bit from the video, or still from the video, as it were.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's what the presenter looked like in the zero space environment. Pretty simple there, but as you can see, she's motion captured into the environment. And yeah, she was talking to the winners and presenting them over video, which was well, quite interesting. Um, yeah, quite a lot here. Anyway, there's a roundup here of all the people who won stuff, as well as Evo. There were plenty of other winners and honorees. And yeah, the community honor for the honorees was yeah, Eva Henning for this year for her work with the XR Guild, the Open Metaverse Interoperability Group, which I'm also in, and Meta Traversal, which is sort of connected to both anyway. So that was very good. Oh, there's an example of how the broadcast looked. You had the presenter there, the in-world, standing on this strange thing on the edge of a spaceship most of the time. And yeah, the thing we don't know about in the background, and then the person getting the award on kind of video there. I actually kept the clip with Eva, I think, but I should. Oh, I know what. I haven't taken it out of the whole runtime. Yes, it needs clipping. Right. Anyway, so you'll find that's at arpost.co. Roundup of the awards there. Then the VRARA, that's the VR Virtual Reality Augmented Reality Association, basically VRARA, and the VRARA.com. THEVRARA.com. And just they had a roundup. They post quite a lot of stuff actually, but this was just seemed appropriate. It was the 10 most innovative companies in augmented and virtual reality. And this is really their awards. Archer's Mark, Inner Sloth, Patch XR, Rendeavor, Niantic, Unity, Coca-Cola. Some brands you will know, sometimes you've never even heard of them. Like, who the hell is Coca-Cola? I don't know any avatars there. Right, I mean, it's a shame about this. Obviously, as you can see if you read the article, is a few four-letter words scattered around, so beware of that. And yeah, basically a roundup of the most influential people going even if they are four-letter words, but never mind, never mind. Okay, moving down, Road to VR. But they didn't publish many things recently, but this weekend, in fact, I think it is still on. Rec Room is putting on first ever Rec Rocks Music Festival this weekend. I can't tell you much about it. There was a lot of talk about it, and I know it's actually March 11th and 12th, so we're on the second day now. But since it started, I haven't actually seen anything online like video clips or anything showing actually what really is going on. So whether it's one of these highly hyped up festival, 2 day music festival with an audience of two, or whether there are thousands of people in there, I really don't know. But it's not easy to find out without actually going into Rec Room itself, I guess. But it's a sort of review about it, and it doesn't that look an exciting rock concert? No legs. Actually, Rec Room is not actually that bad a world. I'm surprised. I'm surprised things thought that primitive, to be honest. But anyway, um, yeah, and this was a trailer for it. Well, yeah, I'm just so tempted to joke about, some of these things that have been online, which was bigger, the audience or the lineup? Never mind. I'm very cynical sometimes, but I'm sure they did fine. I believe if you, I think you can get onto that on the web actually, as well as their standalone clients. And if you're into that, you probably still got time. I think they're on US time, so it's still early on Sunday for if you want to get in for the second day. Okay, next up we have This Week in XR. This is Charlie Fink's end of the week roundup. This was just a couple of days ago, so it is about this week really. Um, he's got coverage from last year, Augmented World Expo, Altspace VR, Passing to History, blah blah. Rec Room, a lot of stuff I've just covered, and lots that I haven't, but it's Charlie's thing really. Yeah, so oh yeah, people changes and stuff like that. So yeah, you'll find us at Forbes.com, Forbes.com. Now Forbes, of course, is a very big site, and you won't necessarily find it on the homepage. So as with all the links I'm reading out, if you go to twitter.com/Malburns, Malburns, the links to this, they're clearly marked as Week in XR, etc. Forbes.com. If you click the link from there, it will take you to the actual page, which I can't see on screen to read out to you, unfortunately, but obviously you don't want to just go to Forbes.com, end up on the front page and no idea where to go from there. So do follow the links at Twitter. Right, next site I got up is readwrite.com, readwrite.com. And just an interesting article. Virtual space. They are talking about virtual spaces as well as space itself, which is quite interesting. And really, they're talking about how space technology and virtual space technology really has changed the world since 1962. Just an interesting sort of article, and they're starting off with fairly obvious things about virtual spaces, but right. Changed our lives in ways that are not limited to the more literal alignment with AR, VR, and the metaverse, etc. And quoting Philip Rosedale and Avi Barziv there again, how will the use of this technology evolve from now on, kind of thing, and yeah, some kind of interesting replies, quotes there. I'm not going to go into it all, but as you can see, this is a whole interview section with Avi Barziv and Philip Rosedale. So History of virtual space technology indeed goes back to 62, etc., etc. So, yeah, the author is Vice President of Business and Corporate Development at PubNub. That sounds like a hub for alcohol places. Never mind. Pub. No. I need a drink. Right. Okay. Moving on to another site called Eureka Alert. EUREKALERT.org. And this is an interesting one. This is about tactile tattoos. You know, you can have tattoos, burned into your arm and stuff like that. But they also make disposable ones, which of course are the younger girls who never actually get tattoos. They sort of buy these tattoos that they sort of iron onto their arms or something. But most augmented reality, virtual reality things tend to focus primarily on exclusive visual sense. The sense of touch is usually left out of the equation, even though it's a crucial role. Well, anyway, what they're trying to develop here is tattoos that actually will bring the touch element into virtual and augmented reality. In other words, I presume the idea is they'll be on your skin, and they will be removable, obviously, and because they will react to the way your muscles and veins and things move in the contours of your skin. There'll be a kind of an input device, basically, a haptic device. So maybe instead of wearing a haptic glove, to do things in the virtual world, you'll actually have tattoos on strategic parts of, maybe your wrist or the back of your hand or the palm. I don't know about the fingers. It depends how small they can make tattoos. But anyway, it sounds like an interesting thing. And obviously, if they mass market tattoos, they'll probably be no more expensive than or technically, eventually, the little tags you can get that Apple do now that you can put in bags or put in things, and it tracks them, and you use your phone to find out where you put it or who's nicked it and where they've taken it. Well, they're small form factor things, and being Apple, those are not particularly cheap. But I would think tattoos, I don't think they'd be reusable, so they shouldn't be mass manufactured. They shouldn't be that expensive. Basically, they've developed TAC2 is called, which is tactile and tattoo. It is called TAC2, and it's a super thin electronic foil currently that's only 35 micrometers. That's a thousandth of a millimeter. No. Yeah, 35 of a thousandth of a millimeter is a micrometer, so it's 35 of them. And I can't imagine that. Even a millimeter is too small for me to see half the time. It's I think it can be applied to the skin like a temporary tattoo. It can stimulate the sense of touch electrically without the need for any moving parts. This is because the foil is feel-through thin. Objects can be perceived and felt as they normally would be. And there's a whole range of potential applications, and can create a completely new haptic experience for purely digital objects, etc., etc. Sorry there, just a sip of cold liquid before my mouth dries up completely on you. Right, so moving on down. xrmust.com, xrmust.com. Oh, sorry, I read it out, but I didn't spell it to you. The previous tattoo article was eureka.org, EUREKALERT.org. I'm moving to xrmust.com. This is xrmust.com. We're reaching a moment of consolidation in immersive creation where quality is the key. This is a quote from somebody already at SXWX this week. And it's an introduction to the festival, if that's the word for it. But that quote came from an introduction there. And there's a little mini interview here to be seen as well. Looking at some of the things, and plenty of links to follow here to things mentioned. in the spotlight there. An awful lot of them, really, as you can see. Some very attractive looking graphics there, though. I always see these roundups of the new things, and a lot of them look very cute. But I tend to think I'm looking at an animation rather than anything to do with an interactive environment. Which is realistic looking stuff. But anyway, you'll find that at XR Must. Okay, two more. Chap called Ulan talking about building a persistent virtual world. This is at spectrumIEEE.org. So spectrum.IEEE.org, which is Electronic Standards Association. He's the president, so he's talking about persistent virtual worlds, and don't think this is illustrated at all, but it's just quite a long, interesting sort of technical article about where things are going with persistent virtual worlds. And some people say, that anything that is part of a potential metaverse or whatever needs to be persistent, whereas a lot of these experimental things are not persistent worlds at all.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
They tend to be simply installations, don't they?
Scenes. There are scenes that are, you visit and nothing you do there remains. And that's unlike here at OpenSim, anything we do in the studio, any of us as contributors or guests, it'll be here when you come back. So I think that's an important part.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a bit like a real life. Somebody can come to the stage anytime and nick it all, can't they?
Yep.
And it won't be here when we get back. But that's a whole different issue.
That's a whole different issue, right.
Yeah, so no, persistent rules, I think, for sure, and the ability to, move freely between.
Well, if you want people engaged in what you're doing, they need to expect that what they do will be there when they come back.
Yeah, for sure. Right, so that, as I said, was spectrum.IEEE.org. This is the final, final web link here, actually. This is a site called mixednews.com. And this, again, is touching on this isn't fashion, this is fitness workouts and aerobic dance. And it's really quite funny because, I remember in the early days of Second Life, the way you would make a quick Linda money or something was to find a pole dance and get onto it and dance, and that's what most people think about. What they don't realise is the actual aerobic dancing on these things is actually a fitness workout. It predates the sex clubs, and believe me, those women who ride around on poles, they have their work cut out. It's hard work. But they're now bringing a VR artist is bringing the sport into virtuality, and I suppose this is a bit like somebody announcing a popular music musician, in the real world is coming into virtuality. What they're doing is they've designed a rather complex motion capture system for people to wear while they're doing the workouts in real life, and that motion capture system simulates what they're doing in real life, but in the virtual environment. So they could be in a green screen room with a real pole and lots of capture tech, doing it all, and then they could be performing in a nightclub room in the virtual world, where in fact the avatars can't touch you. It's a completely safe environment. This is also, in a primitive way, this is all done already in places like Second Life, but this definitely has the idea of the pole fitness actual workouts. VR Chat is one of the apps they've used to demo it, and members from VR Chat can dancing community have their own Discord channel to meet. Regular training is mandatory. Several years of hard training before the pole moves to look as smooth and elegant as those of the professionals, etc., etc. So it also teaches you to pole dance, or that is you will sign up, log in, and it'll be a training session too. Right. Okay, so some technical stuff about using a full body tracking setup. She says she bypasses things like the annoying cords on the HTC Vive Pro and the wireless adapters, because obviously motion capture is one thing, but you don't want wires and kit trailing around you while you're doing heavy aerobics. And it's like sort of motion capture your way into a virtual world and then trip over the wire. Oops. Doesn't look that good. Anyway, you'll find us at mixednews.com, MIXED, and then dash NEWS.com. And that's it for that. So how am I doing on time here? Maybe
About 40 minutes.
okay. We've got a little bit of time to play with, haven't we? Oh, and we started a bit late. Okay, so I have a few news clips here. I don't think we can run them all, but I can have a look at them. The early of the modern era virtual worlds, I suppose, 20 years ago now, really, was Second Life, which I'm sure many of you heard of. It was very many ways the inspiration for the open sim world that we have here, and our studio is based. They demoed this week. This is what the chief product people from Linden Labs actually demoing the version that actually works on Android and on the iOS. It's still beta, so to speak. They have beta testers, which means it's up and running, but a lot of things to be fixed yet before it actually goes public. But this is 4 minutes basically, talking a bit about it, and I don't know whether this will extend to third-party viewers like Firestorm. How much of the technology that makes it work as an app will need a Linden Lab viewer, or whether the capabilities will be made available to third-party viewers, and whether, for example, if it's made available to Firestorm, whether it would Firestorm on iOS or whatever will be able to access things like OpenSim 2. It may be totally proprietary, but here's the oomph about it.
I'm Grumpy Linden, VP of Product. I was looking around for some new places to visit and saw a few really interesting things in the destination guide. Cool, I thought. I'll just go check out Kaleidoscope, that monarch butterfly preserve. On my phone. No big deal. Wait, what? Yeah, it's true. It's still early, but we're super excited to share a first peek at something new. Second Life Mobile. Look, it's me, on my phone. Let's face it, this isn't the first time we've tried to build a mobile viewer, because of course we want to have all the glory of Second Life in our pocket. But honestly, this is the most exciting result we've seen so far. We really wanted to start with the hardest things first. What's the hardest? Avatars and beautiful world views. And we wanted to make sure that our app works on all platforms. And so, it is with joy and trepidation that we share with you the early results of these efforts. Of course, it's still very much a work in progress. You will see very little functionality or user interface for now. But here it is, immediate, vibrant Second Life on Android and iOS. For a little bit more about what to expect with Second Life Mobile, here's my colleague Mojo Linden.
Thanks, Grumpy. As the VP of Engineering, I have been working closely with the development team to make sure that the community can experience everything they love about Second Life while on the go with our upcoming mobile viewer. As Grumpy mentioned, to make this happen, we've started our development work with some of the most challenging aspects first. That includes delivering the full rendering of avatars with all their complex attachments and behaviors, as well as the full rendering of 3D environments that are so critical to the Second Life experience. The Second Life mobile viewer is built on Unity, and that fact has paved the way for residents to be able to explore and engage across the virtual world using multiple mobile phone and tablet platforms, including Android and iOS. I have been blown away at how lush and engaging an experience we can get on a mobile device. I thought we were going to have to give up some of that beauty of Second Life to get it working on mobile phones. But so far, we haven't had to compromise too much on graphic fidelity. It's all still very recognizable, in many cases downright gorgeous. But of course, I have a biased opinion and look forward to hearing what you all think. What you're seeing right now shows our progress so far, but there's still much work to be done before we launch Second Life Mobile. Here's Patch to let you know more about what's next.
Thanks, Mojo. I'm Patch, VP of Product Operations at Second Life, and I'm really excited to share with you a bit more about the future of Second Life Mobile. Over the past nearly 2 decades, I have seen Second Life enable people from all corners of the globe to create, socialize, experiment, engage in education, business, or even develop relationships, sometimes those which may follow through into the real world. Second Life allows people to really connect in a meaningful way that other remote type scenarios do not work well for. There's an increased sense of connectedness when you are virtually placed within an immersive environment, and that proves to always be powerful when it comes to generating remembrance of that experience. Successfully, Second Life has demonstrated over the past nearly 20 years that you can find almost every interest you might have presented in various unique ways. As a platform, it enables opportunities to engage with it for entertainment value or a variety of other practical means. For example, I can find various types of roleplay, games, adventure, or quests, or sometimes I might just be happy with wandering and exploring the vast continents that comprise the mainland or Belisaria, with all of its hidden discoverable gems and artifacts. With that said, now imagine being able to stay connected with your Second Life from anywhere, chat with friends, visit your favorite in-world hangout spots, and later, do pretty much anything you can do with the desktop Second Life viewer without being tethered to your computer. We're still working hard to bring the best of what you expect from Second Life to a mobile experience, and we can't wait to show you more in the coming months as our development progress continues. Your world, your imagination, anywhere, any place. Mobile is coming soon to Second Life.
And a bit of old whoosh bang there, eh? Right, this isn't Second Life. This is I forget which one this is. It's actually silent. It's Women in Text showcase, a virtual art gallery, basically. Creative Owls IO. Not much of that really. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 2 minutes on this. This is Bronwyn Williams, I think it is, talking about mind reading.
Today's Daily Signal looks at a preprint paper from the Graduate School of Frontier Biosciences in Osaka, Japan. And what the researchers there are looking at is how technology or artificial intelligence can actually read our minds and generate images just by looking at ESG sort of scans of our brain and actually recreate the things that we are seeing in our mind's eye in the computer screen. So this, of course, is just coming in parallel with the same time that the Financial Times put out an article talking about the coming catastrophe of neuroscience and how our brains and what goes on behind our eyes and inside our heads is becoming public property, and what this means for things like personal privacy and, of course, our rights to be able to think things even if we don't act on them without getting into trouble. Who among us has not had thoughts that we wouldn't necessarily want everyone around us to see? But of course, other people are saying that perhaps we should take a closer look inside each other's minds and what's going on in the privacy of our own skulls in order to prevent future crimes or corruption, for example. Of course, this just comes back to those age-old debates between privacy and security and individual rights and the greater good, and it collides with conversations that we're having about society and conversations that we are having about technology. What do you think of this? How do you feel about mind-reading technology becoming a reality? I would encourage you to take a look at the links below because it really is quite extraordinary just how accurate those mind-reading graphics are becoming.
Right, well, she covers a lot of virtual world stuff as well. And there's an obvious link there because if you consider brain interfaces and stuff like that. And, already people are talking about the future metaverse and all that, blah, blah. Will it be safe? What would be possible? And, could you meet another avatar and somehow be reading the mind of the person driving the avatar, so to speak? All this technology converges. So food for thought there. I'm going to finish. I've got a few here, but I haven't got time for them. But I've mentioned Omi on several occasions, and they've just released a quickie 1 minute thing about the GLTF extensions for the open metaverse that they've already sort of developed. You've got to remember that these extensions would work with things like WebXR. So the demonstration world here for this, I think it's Jin that did this, is a WebXR world. For example, it's not although GLTF extensions might work in something like OpenSim or even ScienceBase where they do work, I know. The demos here principally is showing it how it will work on a web. So are we running? Oh yes, there we are. This is silent, I believe, so don't panic. Oh, hear it. No, it's a bit of music. Hyperfly, that was it. Yeah, that one is actually in Hyperfly, and I think the build is actually called Neon Street. Is that how they're going back in there? Yeah, Hyperfly IO is the world in question. This one, Neon Street, basically is the street in which they're in Hyperfly at least, they're actually resing that booth. So although the booth was devoted to GLTF extensions, um, oh, that's all you get. Okay, so that was about the extensions and the content of the booth, but the booth itself is designed to be getting bigger and bigger. But it's a autonomous booth, so that you can res it, as we say, in virtually any virtual world that wants to have it. So if there's, I don't know, presumably even if there's like a conference in Open Simulator here, they would be able to bring that booth in and res a version of it that would be, compatible with Open Simulator here. Okay, well, as I said, with the mobile, we did a bit of mind reading. Okay, I have a couple of promos for the event, but I'm going to save them to next week. They're only about 4 minutes, but hold something back for next week anyway. And I realised we're okay on time, except that we started late and there's another program following, so we better haul ass, as they say in the business. Right, so I hope you've enjoyed this, folks. Thanks to all the technical wizardry of James Atlloud behind the scenes. Thank you, James.
Oh, you're very welcome, Mel.
Thank you to me, of course, because why not? We'll be back with more highlights, same time, same place next week, or actually probably be a different time. I don't know what happens with the Clocks Back business.
It depends where you're watching.
Yes, I think we'll be back in harmony again this time next week on the time zones we're used to. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Yes, have a good week, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, avoid all those horrible things that are still floating around, really. And so it seems anywhere in the northern hemisphere you've either got subarctic conditions or you walk down the street and it's Mediterranean. I think this is just daft. Never weather patterns are one thing, but when you can actually, the top half of Britain is subarctic, and the bottom half is just touching Mediterranean weather. It's actually more hot than it should be, and more cold than it should be. And I'm watching the weather maps. It's just astonishing. There's a line, you can see where the crossing is. Warm place, hot place. And you just want to go out and say, run down the road to the hot place, please. Anyway, hopefully we will be back in one form or another next week. Meanwhile, you can watch replays on YouTube and everything else. So, yes, with that, we're out of here. Bye for now.